Salut à tous, je suis avec Simon Bertiou, et il va nous parler de son deck. Ce sera en anglais, mais je pense que vous allez comprendre. So I said it will be in English, but I guess they'll understand. So Simon, congratulations for the top 8.
Thank you very much.
Everybody in the room of the GP, especially the French people, were talking about your deck and saying how cool it was, and really nice deck, nice innovations. So could you tell us what's your deck? Who gave you the idea to play this mix-up with Kogo and CAWZERRET? And just go ahead.
Okay, so the original idea came from Evangelos Papatsarrouhas. He's a Greek player. We've been playing together forever. He top 8 in Austin last year. He's the guy that Kibler won.
Yeah.
I forgot the trigger. So basically, the idea was I really like the blue, white, black. I was like, this is the best deck in standard because you have a lot of options and you have a lot of good draws that people cannot really handle. But we didn't really fancy the idea of playing a lot of mirrors, even though I think there's a lot of room for skill-based decisions. We just wanted something different because it was going to be a tournament that nobody knows your list, nobody knows who's playing. And CAWZERRET was like a pretty good surprise for this. So the idea behind CAWZERRET is that he straight up beats a Jace. So if they resolve a Jace and you resolve a CAWZERRET, you're miles ahead. Because 5-5s with haste, not with haste, but 5-5s for a Jace decks are pretty hard to beat.
So the great thing, you're gonna take a quick look at the list. So you have like the 4 preordains, like regular preordains, like any blue.
I have duresses because basically I don't have Jaces to beat their Jace after a while, or I can't throw down my Jace first. And if I'm behind, CAWZERRET maybe not be enough. So the idea behind duress is to like generally hit their Jace, and against Valakut, we want to have some sort of edge against Valakut because this main deck is very bad against Valakut. You have like very little chance to win. So duress would hit both the trap and the zenith. So that was the idea behind duress, trap, and zenith, and we really wanted to hit those. I don't really care about their mystics, their hawks, and the swords because I got 4 temple magnets. And of course my own. And Mortarbolt is really good at killing.
So with the Stoneforge you get like a little toolbox, the classical sword, but you get Mortarbolt and Bone Horde also. For
the mirrors, like basically you want to start with a sword, very rarely with a Mortarbolt, depending on their Mortarbolt. I guess in the mirror was usually a good surprise, but Mortarbolt has been there more for the aggro decks. It has a great synergy with the Hawk.
With the Hawk, of course,
the idea was like, if I play against any sort of aggro deck, Boros, Vampire, Fauna Shaman decks, anything, I bring a Mortarbolt. And they have a very hard time dealing with it because they got a lot of 1 toughness creatures or 2 toughness creatures that I can easily kill with a Mortarbolt. And I've been catching Geopedes and Stepplinks all day long with it.
So you got lucky on the pairings a little bit?
No, I actually didn't. I didn't play against. I played like against 5 aggro decks in 15
so
rounds.
It's not that much,
I didn't play against that many aggro decks, but it was really good against the aggro decks I played. And it wasn't terrible in the mirror or other matchups. It's a decent finisher as well, for the last 5 damage sometimes.
So you got also like a mix-up of Doomblade and Go for a Throat?
I have Go is for, again, the mirror, it kills the black manland. But as you noticed, since I lost in the top 8 as well, the deck is very weak to Precursor Golem. You have no solution.
No solution for Golem.
I mean, you can tap it with magnets and proliferate, but that takes mana efforts. And he just plays 1 card.
You were talking about proliferation. You get the contingent class.
Proliferate has been actually pretty good for me in the tournament because I can proliferate either planeswalkers, the magnets, these put counters on it. It hasn't been very common, but for example, in the Coblade mirrors, when you really don't want to be tapping out, even if you have a sword, because you don't know for sure that their sword attack will pass, your sword attack will pass. It was a pretty nice way to use my mana between the ability of the sword in the mirror. And generally against some aggro decks, I just go, 1 for 1, 1 for 1, then the magnet becomes an infinite removal. Or a normal removal, depending on what their best threat is, which is really cool because you can swap threats.
And so the great thing also about your deck that everybody was talking about is like for a regular Kogo with black or things like this. Usually when your board gets swipes or you don't have anything else but your sword on the board, or you can do anything.
I think sword was the most used artifact on CAWZERRET.
So they wipe out your board, and still
like
you put down CAWZERRET and the sword is a 5/5.
That was usually what was happening. That's the main idea behind CAWZERRET. I was actually letting people, for example, I was not killing people's cobras. And when I knew, for example, that they would have a Jace in their hand from a duress or something, and I would let them resolve Jace so I could kill it with CAWZERRET and any sort of artifact. So yeah, CAWZERRET is definitely amazing. And then also Venture.
Let's talk about Venture.
I think that if people copy this deck, the first card they will take out is Venture. I really think because it's the card that seems bad, but I really think this is wrong. This has actually been a very good card. I didn't play Gideon Jura, which is the usual 5 mana Planeswalker, because the only use I have for Gideon in this deck, I'm so well prepared against the aggro decks, the only real use I have for Gideon in the deck is like pushing through another Gideon. I mean, it's fine to have it against Boros or something, but I have so many cards that it's redundant. So like, Venture lets me reuse my class, obviously, so he's good against the aggro decks and the magnets. And he's I think he's a surprisingly good threat against a control deck, because they need to deal with him. His ultimate is insane, and it's not. It's like 3 turns after he's in the board that he gets the ultimate mode. And also against, of course, this is a bit of a far-fetched since he's just 1 card. But I won 3 games actually today against
with
the unblockable ability. It was good because I really needed my sword attack to go through. So I just dropped him, gave the unblockable, and I also won against an Aya deck. He had an active Phono Shaman, he had Vengevines, but I was racing him with a sword and 5/5 guys that I had made with CAWZERRET. But at one point he had like 3 Hawks, 2 Vengevines, and I couldn't push through, and my plan was originally to venture him, and that's what happened, because nobody sees it coming. And even if they do, it's not like they can do much. They will have to start blocking with their creatures, which is good, because not many creatures trade with a 5/5.
Okay, so now can you talk about like the matchups? The good matchups, the bad matchups, and about your sideboard. Okay,
well, except aggro decks, you don't really have any really good matchups, especially now that people will know about the deck and about CAWZERRET. So like any aggro deck is obviously a very good matchup because you got 10 spot removal, you got CAWZERRET. I mean, CAWZERRET is a huge beating because if you make a 5/5 and then they kill the CAWZERRET, you still have a 5/5 left. He's been dying all day, but he leaves a 5/5 body behind, and it's really big against decks. And if it gets equipped with something, then it's huge. And Lynx is GOP, they need like a lot of lands to push through it. I've done very well against Coblade decks. I didn't lose to any. Actually, I only lost 1 Coblade deck, but his draws were insane, and there wasn't really much I could do. So Coblades, I think for me in this tournament, they were good because people didn't know about the CAWZERRET, and the plan was working. I was actually, for example, my teammate, she was on the draw, and the person played a Mystic. He fetched the sword. My teammate straight on his second turn, he just Doombladed main phase, so he stopped out. The other guy drops the sword, then my friend drops, I think it was a magnet, a random artifact, so he's stopping out. The other guy is like, okay, I'm playing against the noob, Chase. Boom, CAWZERRET.
Boom, CAWZERRET. Really nice.
And I've been doing that all day long.
It was like it was you won some games because of the surprise effect.
I won a lot of games. I mean, I wish every time I would have a picture and take people's faces. Every time it's like I had a Mystic and it's something like CAWZERRET. What? And he got read a lot. Everybody was like, okay. And I even ultimated him once. Yeah.
That's crazy. So let's talk about the sideboard.
Okay.
So that's a sideboard for mono red.
Yes. This sideboard for mono red, and against a Boros deck that you think will put in a lot of heroes and costs, you can put in the Celestial Rage. I didn't want to play a lot of firewalkers because my mana is not too good for double white. So I just played 2 firewalkers. I don't really need to play them early.
Okay.
I just want to play them at some point because they're a very good threat, and they will for sure connect with the sword. So they will force the red deck to react. Because usually when you used to play firewalkers, it was hard for the red deck, but they would still win because they would just sit back. They had infinite time. With firewalker and the sword, they really need to react fast, and if they don't have that luxury, you're just gonna win. So these 5 cards are for Valakut.
Yeah, the 3 on more side, 2 flash freeze.
Yeah, this hasn't really been working for me, to be honest. Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I won against a guy in the Swiss, but she sideboarded badly. She had taken out almost every threat, and I memorized the Primeval, and all he had in his deck was like 2 slimes and 1 Thran. So it worked there, but I don't think it's generally good because even if you take the Primeval with the Zenith, they still got a lot of threats, and Slime is pretty annoying against me, and they have so much time that they will probably kill me with a Valakut.
Okay.
Or the Red Titan's not that big of a problem, but I haven't really been able to find out any combination of cards that really works against Valakut. So I just hope they will sideboard badly, like the guy did, and catch them with a memory side. That was my plan. It's a bad one, but it's a plan.
You gotta have a plan against sideboard against every deck. So
these
those 2
cards,
guys.
they're for the aggressive decks, and this is for the mirror also. Gideon was sort of a last-minute addition to the sideboard because we really had the slots and we weren't sure what would, at least for me. My teammate played a different sideboard. And, well, there's not much to say about Gideon. He's Gideon, he does what he does against the aggro decks, and I just didn't want the 3rd Gideon, so I put the Sand Titan, which is also decent in the mirror. He's very good. And I also side him in against aggressive decks because, for some reason, well, usually Boros decks will have Divine Offerings and stuff, which are not really good against the traditional Coblade because who cares? They just kill the artifact you fetched. So they're down cards, and if you don't have it, they're just an aggro deck with a reactive card, which is not really good against it. But against me, I have tons of artifacts, so they're very good. I would probably play a 2nd Sand Titan over Gideon because he was a beating. He's a beast.
So, and after that, the rest of the sideboard is like another sword for...
sword is basically being swapped for Bone Ward. Against any deck that doesn't have a lot of creatures, which is basically any non-creature matchup. I swap the sword for the Bone Ward.
The Jace are of course for the...
The Jace are for the Jace decks.
Jace decks.
I initially wanted to play...
big one and a little one.
Yeah, I initially wanted to play 2 of the small one, but then it dawned to me that the Esper decks play Inquisition, so I don't really want to be losing my Jace to the Inquisition.
So and 2 more
so
discard.
I just played 1/1. And 2 more discard. This is generic stuff. It's mostly to swap in with the Duress. So I have like enough early plays against an aggro deck because I think that against Boros you really want to be playing spells on the first turns a lot. You don't want, because if you fall behind you will die for sure. If they have even small advantage, their big spells will easily take over the game.
Okay.
And I think like I was expecting a much bigger tournament, and I was expecting to play against a wide variety of decks. So I just needed a card that would be good against anything. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Simon, and congratulations again.
Thanks again.
I hope to see you soon on tournaments.
Okay.